Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So we're going to be making this Winky eye guy. He's pretty funny. Pretty cute. Let's get started. Oh, and I am using a different yellow. This is actually yellow, and this is lemon. So, and then you'll need red, black, and white. I am using a number 4 hook. You're going to need scissors. You're going to need some pins for, you want to pin your stuff down for sewing. You will need a needle with the little hooked end, or a needle like this for sewing. Alright, so first we're going to make a slip knot. You're going to chain 3, and in this first chain you're going to put 15 double crochets. So that's 15. And then you can slip stitch into the top of this first chain. Chain 2. And now you're going to put 2 double crochets in each stitch around, starting in the one you just put a chain 2 in. We're going to make this a habit throughout the entire project. We're always going to have 2 into the same space right there. So you should have a total of 30 stitches, and you can just slip stitch to the top of that first chain and chain 2. So we're going to start increasing, and we're going to go 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet. So your first one is going to go in the same stitch you just put your chain 2 in. So like I said, we're going to make a habit of always having 2 in this first one. So that's your first 2. So your next stitch is just going to be 1 double crochet. Your next stitch is going to be 2 double crochets. Your next stitch is going to be 1. So we're going to do that all the way around. 2 1 2 1 2 1. and slip stitch to the top of the first chain. So chain 2, oops, we'll put our double crochet in the same stitch like we're supposed to. So our next increase round is going to be 2 1 1 2 1 1 2 1 1. So we got our 2. The next one's going to be 1, and the next one's going to be 1. Then we start a repeat again. So this will have 2. Then this one will have 1. Next stitch will have 1. So that's a repeat all the way around. Adding a slip stitch to the top of that first chain, and chain 2, and add your other double crochet in there, just like that. So our next round is going to be 2 1 1 1. So we started off with our 2 here. So that's 1, next stitch gets 1, and the next stitch gets 1. So that's your repeat all the way around is 2 1 1 1 2 1 1 1. And the slip stitch to the top of that first chain. So the next round you're going to chain 2, you're going to put your double crochet into that same space. So your next round is going to be 2 1 1 1 1, so 4 over 4 stitches, so 2 and then 4 single crochets over 4, 1 in each hole. That's your repeat. Alright, so we've got one more row, and this time it's going to be 2 1 1 1 1 1, so 5 single crochets and then 2. So chain 2, then put your double crochet in that same space. So you're starting off with 2. So each of the next 5 stitches is going to get 1 double crochet. Alright guys, so I'm done my one piece. You're going to have a little bit of waves going on, and that's fine. You kind of want that for when we put stuffing into it. the first one you make, you can fasten off. So I fastened off with my first one. I'm going to put the pause screen up, and I'll put the pattern on the pause screen so you know what to do to make your second one. Just know that it doesn't matter if you drop stitches or add stitches, but the two pieces have to have the same amount of stitches in your final row. If not, when you sew it together, it's not going to be stitch for stitch, which means you're going to get bunching. So, I mean, if it's one or two off, it's probably not a big deal, but if it's like 3 and up stitches off, you're going to get the bunching. So, I'll put the pause screen up. You can go ahead and follow the pattern on the screen and make your second piece, and I'll meet you back here, and we'll start making some face parts. We're not put this together yet. We're gonna make our face parts. Okay, so I'm not fastening off. I am just gonna leave it like this, and I'm just gonna kind of toss it to the side for now. So we'll work on our mouth with our tongue next. So you're gonna need your black and your red. And I know this is probably gonna be difficult to see. I'm gonna get my extra light so it's helpful. Alright, so I got my light. This little guy here, that's the name. If you want to look it up, it's actually a light, little lights that adjust the push of a button. And they bend and they're flexible, they move around. They're actually for reading, but I use them for colors like black and dark green and stuff so that I can see what I'm doing, because it's very hard for me to see. So it does come in handy for making the videos too, because you're going to be able to see better. I just got to get the angle of my lights right. Like that. So I hope this is helpful. So we're just going to change our hooks. So we're going to use a 4.5 hook for this. And we're going to make a slip knot. And you're going to chain 15. So starting in the first stitch you can get into, so that would be the next one. The one on your hook is your 15th stitch. So the only one that you can get into is this guy right here. So you're going to go into him, you're going to single crochet, and you're going to do that all the way back up. So for 14, all the way back up, single crochet. So we're going to instantly start a decrease. So chain 1 and turn. So in the first 2 stitches you're going to do 2 together, and the last 2 stitches you're going to single crochet 2 together, and then everything in between is going to be just a straight up single crochet. So that's how we're going to decrease, and we're going to do the same decrease for every single row. So the first two together, and then single crochet back up to the other end. So the last two stitches, you're going to single crochet. Oh, those are not my last two. Sorry, I'm still struggling to see this. Can't seem to get the light where I want it. So these last two stitches, chain one, turn your work. So we're just going to repeat this process until we have 4 stitches along the top. And then we can continue from there. So if you want to work ahead of me, you can decrease all the way up till you have 4 stitches on the top. And then at that point though, you're going to single crochet around the entire project. So don't fasten off or anything. After you're done single crocheting around the entire project, then you can fasten off. And then you can get your red. One, two, three, 4. So I got 4 left on top. So now I'm just going to single crochet around the whole outside wherever I can get my needle into. Generally at the beginning of every row you should be able to find a spot to stick your needle. So just put some stitches around. Just cleans up the edges. And we kind of need the edges for sewing. So you can put 2 on the corner if you want to round it off a little more than it is. So once you get back around to where you started, you can just slip stitch. That's just the tail from over here that I was weaving in. You can fasten off with enough tail for sewing. I'm just going to snip this off because I weaved him in. If you didn't weave your end in, then you have to weave it in. What is going on with this? Never had to cut off an end 3 times before. So we build the mouth upside down, but the mouth actually goes like this. So let's see where I put this mouth or this tongue. So get your red. I'm going to turn this light off. Okay, so turn your mouth upside right. Make your little slip knot. You're going to go into the 4th post. You're going to add your color. You're going to go to the next post. Make a stitch. Next post. Make a stitch. Next one. Make a stitch. The next one, make a stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One more. Next one, make a stitch. So you have 6 stitches. Make sure you pull tight. Chain 1, turn your work. Keep this tight. You're just going to single crochet into those 6 stitches for 2 rounds. And this last one might be a little awkward to get into. Chain 1, your second round. Still have 6 stitches. Chain 1. Now you're going to decrease. Chain 1, turn your work. You're going to decrease again. You're going to turn your work. So we've got 2 stitches. You're going to put 2, oops. You're going to put 2 single crochets into each stitch. And you're going to fasten off. So it would have been really great if we would have been able to go around the outside of this, but that did not happen. Just because, oh, move my tongue the right way around. So, it's a little distorted right now. You can also spray it with water and water block it. So you can shape it and move it around and shape it. So to start, as far as the shaping, I'm just going to go across like this. So I've pulled that knot right down, but you can, if you wanted a really pointy tongue, you can really pull that together and shape it and then just pull it down. So it kind of gives that Led Zeppelin kiss thing you got going on. So after you've come across and you've pulled it and you kind of want it where it is, then you can just kind of weave this back and forth. I like to just kind of hit every row because we couldn't go around the outside of it to shape it. So it just kind of gives you the opportunity to kind of pull it all together, you know. And then you can finger block it or you can water block it. Either way will work. And then this guy here, which I should have made longer, I'm just going to shove him all the way back along here. At the top, kind of fills in some gaps. This guy's for sewing, yeah, I don't want to weave him in. So there's your mouth and your tongue. Mine seems to be off center. I think I just gotta finger block, everything's out of shape. But there's your tongue and your mouth. So let's do this little eye before I put the, I guess it doesn't matter, I can use black for the other eye. So let's see if I can just hang this off my camera. So we'll do this eye now. So you're gonna need a magic ring with your 4.5. We're making all the face parts with the 4.5. So I just like to use my fingers to hold it tight. You put 6 single crochets into the center. And you can pull that closed. And then you're going to put 2 single crochets in each stitch around. Don't worry about a marker, you don't need one. So that's 1. So just count to 12. 2. So that's 12. I'm just going to pull the center tight. And then I'm going to get my white. Got all these colors in the way. So I'm going to get my white and make a slip knot. So go through your first stitch, attach your white color. Sorry, make sure everything's tight. My camera just shut off. Come through. Make sure your black is tight with your white. Make a stitch. So you want to keep your black and your white tail together while we do this. So there's your first stitch. We're doing an increase row with the white. So in this next stitch, making sure you weave in your ends, you're going to put 2 single crochets. The next stitch you're going to put 1 single crochet. The next stitch you're going to put 2, and so on all the way around. You can cut your black off whenever. I'm just extra security, just going to take it around with me, but you don't have to. I know it's awkward. And 2, so we're at the end. You will have to put a stitch marker. So this is where our stitch marker goes. Just want a tiny one. So our black can get cut off, preferably with sharp scissors. So we're done with that until we gotta do our next eye. Our next eye isn't gonna be like this though. Our next eye is gonna be different. So this round you're still going to be increasing. So I put my first stitch in already. The next stitch is gonna get 1. And the next stitch is going to get 2. So you're doing 1 1 2 1 1 2 1 1 2 all the way around. So this next stitch is going to get 1. Next one's going to get 1. And the next one's going to get 2. So repeat that all the way around. 1 1 2 1 1 2 1 1 2. And then your repeat should end at your marker. Turn that light down a little bit. So that's your eyeball. You can fasten off. But leave a tail for sewing. So I'm just going to tie a knot in the back of this guy. He's getting sewn to something, so. And then I'm just going to snip it off. Saves me weaving it in and everything. So there's your great big open eyeball. So to make it even at the top, because it's a little uneven because the way we worked it. Whoops. Let's go around the back. Go into that stitch. Make sure you get both pieces. Grab your yarn and then just pull through. And then that kind of gets pulled down a little bit. So when you start sewing it on, you can just stretch it out, get rid of that hump. It's nice and flat. Nice great big eye. So last but not least, your other eye. It's pretty simple. Pretty fast, pretty easy peasy. You're just gonna make a slip knot. And again, using your 4.5. You're going to chain 11. You are going to single crochet in the first stitch you can get into. You're going to do another single crochet. You're going to do a half double crochet. You're going to do another half double crochet. You're going to do a double crochet. Another double crochet. Make sure I'm hitting the right stitch. A half double crochet, keeping everything tight, another half double crochet, and then the last two stitches is just a single crochet each. And pull everything tight. You can fasten off with a long piece for sewing, as usual. So, it does have a bit of a curve. So when we sew it on, we're just going to make sure it curves. So you can control how much of the curve you get when you sew it on. This piece you can weave in. So take your piece that you fastened off with. You can pull your center tight and then tie a knot, just so it doesn't open up anymore. Snip that off, this piece here. You can just go in and grab a hold, pull him through and down. Oops. Get rid of this light. Some normal light. So this is your front, this is your back. This is my seam. It's hard to see on here. It's hard to see period, but this is my seam. So I'm going to try to keep him at the top. I always find it easier to sew the mouth on first, and I don't generally go that far over to the side. So I'm putting the bottom, which is the 4 stitches across, just on this end of this row. So I am leaving this because I'm sewing it together, so that's going to be on the curve, a bit of a curve. And just make sure it's somewhat centered. Stick a pin or two in it. You don't really need a fancy needle. We're just using this needle because it's got one of these ends on it. So once you're pretty sure it's straight, you're just going to come up and down and up and down, and you can make your long stitches at the back, but I would suggest you make short stitches at the front, so try to go into actually each stitch. But definitely make sure you come up into the corners, because that's where it's going to roll over. Over time, it will roll over. So once you're satisfied, I would do all this, try to do all your stuff at the back behind this guy, so you're not going to see any of this come through. Keep in mind, this can be all stuffed and sewn to something. Doesn't mean that it still can't come unraveled. So there's your mouth. Cute. Okie dokie, Smokey. So, figure out where we want our eyeball. So, just trying to stick along this edge there. I'm just trying to come up into the stitches and then go down into the stitches, but from the back side I'm skipping a stitch. I'm not really coming up in every single stitch, but when I do, I go back down. It's the very next stitch. And then that way you're not noticeable. So, not really out of shape a whole lot. I think that's not too bad. And then this guy, I'm just going to kind of shape him as I sew him. But for the most part, I will stick a little, ow. Yeah, see that pin is too big. It's going to be hard to, well, maybe not. Let's try it. So it's not horrible. You can tell it's a little winky eye. Well, it's a little winky eye guy. You can tell. So again, I'm just gonna make sure I stick underneath this eye. Really have a lot of room with this guy to tie a knot. Nor apparently the skills. That's not bad. So, you want to get your other half and do the same thing at the back here. You can just tie a knot. Pull tight and tie a knot. Kind of snip it off a little bit. So I got my seam at the top here and my seam at the top there. I just want to match up the seams as best as I could. So, once my seams, why do I feel like they're not matched up here? Once my seams are all matched up, I can now start going stitch for stitch. Do you know what I mean? And single crocheting. And that's why it was important to make sure that you had the same amount of stitches. And single crochet in every stitch around. Leave a little bit of an opening for getting your stuffing in, but you're going to want to go stitch for stitch, because if you don't, you're going to get that bunching, and you certainly don't want to. But leave an opening so we can get our polyfill in there. And I will meet you back. Well, I'll probably just speed this part up. I don't know. Either way, I'm going to meet you back either at normal speed or just meet you back. Alright, I'm back and I got a little bit of the little bit to go. So I'm going to start stuffing. So keep in mind when you're stuffing that you don't want to overstuff it because you don't want your face distorted. Everything doesn't get lost in there. So if you push on this and it bounces back, you probably have enough stuffing. If you push on it and it doesn't bounce back, then you probably need more. So I'm just going to shove some near the top here because when I close it, gonna need to move it around. I had to stand up and do that because look at this is my box of filling. Yeah, pretty ginormous. So that's why I had to sit down to sew it back up. I got that box at Michael's for 40 bucks and it's actually pretty good fill. So, but that's all I could get because we're in the middle of a pandemic and everything is sold out everywhere. I'm not sure why people are panic buying polyfill, but you know, whatever. So I got this great big box, so that's why I was stood up. So this is the awkward part. It's just trying to get it done up without screwing up your stitches, which I think I already did right there. Let's try this again. Once you get back around, you can just slip stitch. I think I put one too many stitches in there. Actually, that's where I want to slip stitch. So just slip stitch into the first stitch that you made. And you can fasten off. So then you just want to move your fill around so it gets up into that spot up here. But I mean, we don't need to mess around with it on camera. You can move yours around and stuff like that. I'll move mine around after in its entirety. So there you have it. I don't know which one looks funnier. This one's a different color. It'd be nice to be able to get them all in the shot. Okay. They look better in person. I mean, they are kind of funny looking right now, but and I don't know why my tongue looks like it's off center. There was real no center with having 11 stitches across, but anyway, so this guy, you can just hide him. What do I do with all my needles? At the back end of this seam here. There, all done. Can't really zoom out any more than that. That's funny. Well, thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next video.